Good afternoon. Obviously, you can tell that the NCAA tournament will not be back on until this weekend. So we are so glad to see you this afternoon for our town hall meeting, our monthly town hall meeting. We've got a lot to cover, and 99% of it I think you've already heard. But I want to make sure you always hear that if you hear it over 16 times, it becomes common. So we'll start today on our 51st time talking about the dining program. So I will go through it quickly, believe me, because I'm going to throw John under the bus. Since he's in Mexico and he can't touch me right now, he will be back on Tuesday, and you can talk all you want to him when he gets back. So got a full house today, and that's great. But before we get started right into the slides, I want to introduce someone. This is her first week with us. So Teresa, if you'll come on up. This is Teresa Galloway. She's our new hospitality manager for our dining program. Maria Rich could not be here this afternoon. She had other engagements, but she will be here next month, and we'll introduce her. If you haven't met her, but actually Maria's been with us for over 4 years. She was our dietitian and our nutritionist, and so she will be is our dining service manager over our main dining room as well as our healthcare. So we want to welcome Teresa. Please go up and introduce yourself. Teresa will remember your name and recite it in about 30 seconds after you leave, 1,000 times so she can remember it next time. So she's already got lost about 20 times, and this is in the dining room, you know. She hasn't even explored outside the dining room. But no, we are glad to have her with us. Tanya is also her sidekick, and we are going to be giving Tanya some additional management training, and she's going to be our head supervisor. So, and then of course Denise is with us as well, and then Sunrika King, which is our kitchen manager. She has also been a vital part in this whole transition that we've been doing for that. And I actually have to say we have received no concerns about the dining transition. It has been pretty smooth overall, and so we want to thank all of our dining staff for all their hard work through this transition. So thank you very much, Teresa. She also asked me, can I just be up there for a few seconds because I got a lot of things to do. So I said, sure. But we do appreciate her being with us. I also want to start off with a little bit of a congratulations. Carolina Village received an award from BB&T Insurance. That is our general liability, our workers' comp liability, and also our any type of property damage insurance. We actually received the Lighthouse Beam Safety Award. This is our 5th year in a row of receiving this award, and so they actually went from a plaque now to a crystal award. So we're very, very excited about that. This talks about all the safety that we do here for not just our residents, but also for our employees. We have the lowest workers' comp, what they call MOD, in our group, our Unity group. We had the lowest MOD, which also determines our insurance rate for the next 3 years. So it is the lowest. So our safety committee meets on a monthly basis, and we talk about a variety of things, and we go over all of our injuries. We do have injuries, unfortunately. We are in an industry that has a lot of injuries, especially in our healthcare. Our number one injury in our industry is our back injuries, and we're a no-lift facility, so we really work very hard to make sure that our nurses and our CNAs are safe when they're doing transfers up in our healthcare areas. So congratulations to them and all the committee for all their hard work to stay on top of that. So let's just dive right into the dining update. Again, this is nothing, you're not going to learn anything new in the next 45 slides. But I do want to give you some information so you're aware, because it is coming up in about 3 days. So a lot of the deadlines are coming up. So why are we doing this program? First of all, we wanted to look, John has done an amazing job working with the dining program and then releasing all the changes that will be brought to all of you. they had 304 individuals, residents, to come to their sessions and learn about all these changes. And that's pretty significant when we have about 500 residents all together. So the three areas that we want to always focus on is our quality, the expectations from you, from our guests, from the staff, and then of course making sure that our dining program is financially viable so we don't have to pass along increases to you. And we've been very fortunate over the last 2 years that we've maintained the same cost, and we're looking forward to being able to not do any additional increases and hopefully see major changes in our program so we can see reduced fees versus increased fees. So of course we did an internal assessment. We had 2 companies come in and do those business analysis with us. John spent days and days and days with those individuals. We did a market basket where we actually called a majority of our stakeholders across the state and see what they were doing. We did external resources for that. We did networking as a variety. And basically we focused on 2 organizations, Gordon Foods and Morrison Senior Services. Out of that, we decided to go with Gordon's food service because, number one, they brought the most items to the table at a very, very economical cost and services. They are not a management company. So one of the things that Morrison's wanted to do was to take over all of our staff members, and they become their employees and not a Carolina Village employees. That was not our philosophy of who we are, and so we wanted to stay internal. And so far, all the changes that we've been seeing coming across from Gordon's have been very, very positive and in the right direction. So it seems like we made a great decisions on that end of it. A lot of things that Gordon's brings, they are a food distributor just like Cisco. And so they do food distributions all over the nation. Again, this company is over 100 years old. But one of the biggest things is they bring a lot of resources that to an individual that does their own internal programs, they can bring those advantages to us so we can make sure that we have a very efficient and effective program here at Carolina Village. So all of those items that you see there in that grid is what they bring to the table. So we're actually doing a 3-phase implementation. It's over this next year. Really going to be shortened on that time frame, but one of the biggest things, phase 1, is of course the education both to you and to our staff, and that's already taken place. That was what John did with the dining program or the dining committee, as well as he's already met with every one of the staff members to know what's going to be happening either already or will go in effect on Monday morning. So everybody's been prepped for that piece of it. Phase 2 is we're implementing all the systems and processes. We already have a chef lined up to come in and do special training with all of our staff members in the month of April. We already have people come in and train all of our waitress staffs in the month of April. So a lot of things you'll be seeing over the next 3 to 6 months, we've already started hitting the road hard trying to get those things implemented, and we do appreciate everybody's patience during that process. But that's one of the things, all those resources that Gordon's brings to the table, we'll be implementing over the next 3 to 6 months. Then phase 3 is those additional changes that we learn over this process, and hopefully one of the biggest things that we've been talking about for several years now is of course that a la carte menu, and that is something that we are trying to still strive to get to that point. So this 3-phase implementation, so yes, we've done a lot of work already, but we've got a long ways to go. So these are some of the updates that John went over in his programs. I wanted to make sure that you were aware of them again because some of those, like I said, are the deadlines of this weekend. The biggest one, effective for 2018, is we will not allow you to do any gifts to one of the endowment programs. And the reason why is because we prepare that food knowing that you may come to the dining room. And so we have those expenses already there. We were taking that money out of another bucket to go into the endowment. And so we're really just double dipping on that end of it. So we just have to set the line that we're just not going to be accepting that anymore. So that will be effective this year. You can continue to roll over each month. You can bring guests in, those type of things. But December 31st, that just goes away. Okay? No letter this year, unfortunately. April 2nd, which is just Monday, residents and guests will no longer be able to take items out of the dining room except for your uneaten entrees and your sides. And I thought this was really cute, 2 cookies. That was a big compromise that we had to do there. So, and anyway, that was a lot of discussion about those 2 cookies, believe me. So, update number 3 that's going to be placed also on April 2nd. Residents will be allowed 1 drink with unlimited refills with their meal. Additional drinks will be available at a charge accordingly, and coffee and water are not included. And there was a lot of discussion about other drinks, but these are the line that we basically, between the dining committee as well as the dietary department, we just felt that was the fairest way. So that will also go into effect on Monday. Today, and this has been in effect, is only 1 piece of fruit from the dietary department, and it's seasonally available. So don't come down and ask for watermelon in the month of January, because there is none. So, but we are just bringing that per resident, from the dietary department. And we will still have oranges, apples, bananas, that we are not changing those. I did notice, and I had to kind of talk to them a little bit today, I was disappointed in the bananas. They're a little smaller today. But guess what? We didn't change a vendor yet. We haven't got to Gordon, so I don't know what our current vendor is doing to us. But anyway, but we did have a little bit of discussion about that this morning. So, also, coming up on Monday, we will be doing new menus that will be coming out. If not this afternoon, it'll be tomorrow. You'll get to see next week's menu. Do remember, though, we do have a holiday coming up, so it is a little bit of a variation of what we will probably see on a routine week. But the number of entrees will be 3 instead of 4. Resident guests will be allowed to order up to 2 sides versus 3, just like any restaurant is typical. Desserts options will change, and there has been a lot of discussion about how many options and those type of things will be in there. We also want to be very conscientious about food allergies and those type of scenarios. Reduction of always available is going to be reduced. Things that are just not things that people use a lot, we're just going to get rid of it because we don't need to have that stock there and have waste on that end of it. The coffee station was eliminated this past week, and we have a lot of still sleepy people walking around in the mornings, but I think they're making it through now. So that was eliminated, and I don't think anybody had major issues. Effective also, the to-go window will host a short list of a la carte items that you can go in and just order, like a soup. There's a soup on there, there's a grilled cheese, and there are a la carte pricing just like you would get if you were for breakfast or for the bistro. So if you're not feeling like a full meal, you can do that piece of it, and it will be for individual pricing type things. And we also are starting on April 2nd a pilot program that we will be, if you utilize the to-go window, you can go into the dining room from 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. and utilize the salad bar. There has been a little bit of a change of guard with our local health department that does our inspections. And everybody has different interpretations of rules and things like that. So that's one of the things that we were able to do, is to be able to open that up for during that time frame. So if it gets abused, we'll shut it down very, very quickly on that end of it. So no personal shopping and those types of scenarios that may occur. So, and that will be an a la carte. It's on that individual small to-go pricing, a la carte pricing menu that they have there. This coming Sunday is our Easter celebration. The last I heard, there were 720 reservations. So we have a full house, and we're very, very excited about having that. They're already gearing up and getting rest now because they will be here early on Sunday morning. They are 3 times to do that, and if you have not made those reservations, you have to do those ahead of time. So you can see Teresa or Tanya to see if there's anything left available. I don't think there's much left in any of the 3 time frames. But from 11 to 12:15, 12:30 to 2:30, 2:45 to 4, we will have our appetizers in the fireplace lounge prior to that, before opening up the dining room and those switchovers. So we will have that in there. Breakfast that morning will be from 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 a.m., and then we'll do the switchover and getting ready for the big day on that end of it. There is no evening meal on Sunday night, which there was never an evening meal on Sunday night. but just we do have a couple people that come down and say, well, where's dinner on usually our holidays, because it is a confusing schedule for a lot of people. So also wanted to kind of give you a lot of updates about the construction. If you're able to get out, and it's been beautiful the last couple of days and it's starting to warm up and you may go out and do some walking, we're out of the ground in all three areas, which has finally been the relief from the rain, even though they're calling for about an inch tonight or some additional rains first of the week. We have been able to do a lot of work and try to get out of the ground, and I've got some pictures showing of that. This is the maintenance building located up near the first part of our campus, right near the front sign and White Quail Trail. So this was a picture this morning. We got all of our inspections yesterday for plumbing. We're putting gravel down the base coat, and they'll put in rebar, and we will pour the slab on Monday and Tuesday. So once they pour that slab, we will have a few days for it to cure, and then of course we have our building will start going upward. Our anticipation, I just talked to the construction manager for that project, and they're anticipating the end of April that building will be finished. Okay? It's a metal building, so it's not nothing elaborate for our gentlemen, but we are excited about getting that, because we have equipment located all over our entire campus right now. Because with all the rain, we're having to start mowing, and so we're doing everything we can. But soon we'll be in that building. Once we get the inspections, then we'll get the moving and things like that. I doubt we'll be in there the 1st of May, but we'll probably be in there definitely in May sometime. So excited about getting that portion of our project done and behind us, and getting the grounds crew their new home. So the Clear Creek Cottages, which is located back past the gazebo and the care center, there's a lot of work that has been done back there. First of all, the footings and foundations for many of our sixplexes have already started taking shape. They've already poured one of them and started pouring the second one. The fence that will go around that entire construction will happen the week of April 16th. Okay? And what they'll do is to protect, we've already had one resident get in there and walk down and actually slide down because of the mud. So, but fortunately nobody got hurt or anything like that, so they will be putting a fence up in that area to keep people out of the construction site. The sidewalk right along the project will be closed starting the week of April 16th, as soon as they put the fence up. What we will be doing is we will be putting 2 live cameras that will be fed to our fireplace lounge, and you can see the construction happening. Okay? There was a lot of discussion because we tried to keep it open, but with the construction being so close to the sidewalk, we just did not feel it was safe. Plus, with all the traffic going in and out of the openings, this will probably be the safest thing. So we'll be getting those cameras located, and we'll have the live feed out here for you to be able to see and see the progression of that area. So the first part of our clusters that will be done is in the red circle. So we have 4 sixplexes that will be finished, and then the 2 duplexes. That's what we're calling phase 1 of the project. And then the lower part, which is not in that, will be the next phase, which will be opened up about 6 months later after the first phase is completed. So they'll be working on all of this area down there, but this will be the phasing that we will go in and how it will be progressed. We'll start on that first one that says 5 and 6, then they'll move to 11 and 12, 17, 18, 23, 24. They'll just move all the way around the circle there. If you're able to look at the road, you can start seeing that Dunlin Terrace and that Crossville Lane. Those roads have already taken shape in most of those areas. Okay. So this is some pictures of some of those walls and those foundations that are going in. This is part of the sixplex. Support beams, that's that Dunlin Terrace, and your units will be above that. You can see they're starting to put up the barriers for starting the next sixplex located there. The rebar that will go in, and then they'll structure it up for the concrete to be poured into. That's our retention pond with all the rain. This is today, after all, several days of of a pretty good weather, that there's still a lot of mud down there. And this is not where the resident was when they got in the water. So you can see this is another sixplex that's already started taking shape. So a lot of work being done in that Clear Creek area. The apartment complex, again, is another area that we're working on, which is located probably closest to every one of us here. Underpinning and foundation work. If you are in the private dining room or in that hallway, you feel the vibration from all the work that's being done. Or if you live near D Hall, hopefully they're not vibrating you around too much in there. We are doing a lot of the electrical rough ends right now. There is a major feed to our building that went straight down that pavement of the lower garages. That all is still there, except for what we've done is we put another grid in, another power grid. So the week of about April 16th, we will be bringing in those generators that we will be operating on for about 2 weeks, while Duke Power switches those power grids from that one that is in the ground to the new grid. So for around the week of April 16th, if everything works out fine, we will start seeing some additional work out there, and we will be on generator power that may impact some of you on D building and part of F building. Okay, you will probably not see anything except for a glip when we get over to generator, but we will have 2 350 kW generators operating us 24 hours a day on diesel fuel. Okay, and that's just part of the project that will happen. So right now they say April 9th, but as we start talking and getting coordination and with the holiday, I really think it'll probably be the week of April 16th. If it is something that will be impacting you, we will put a notice in your door in plenty of time so you're aware of what's going on. People in other buildings probably will never know anything's going on. Okay? We're trying to minimize any impact on our residents at all possible during any of this construction. So this is just some pictures that you can see, and I know that Mr. Lamb has been putting updated pictures out there on the screen in the Fireplace Lounge, and I appreciate that very, very much. There's not a lot of work going on right now in this area except for removal of dirt type things. But if you want to see a master at work, the gentlemen that operate these vehicles are true masters at their field. They do everything and scare the Jesus out of all of us, you know, when he's doing it. So we did have this gentleman also grab a live wire from Duke Power and did not get hurt. So he felt a little ting, but no major hurt. So that's the construction. I will be updating the board located out on Main Street probably tomorrow. We will be putting up more information about the apartments. The cottages have been up there for about a month now. So we will be bringing in some details about the units that will be in an apartment complex. We will also be starting to meet with those individuals that have put a reservation down starting the week of April 9th. We will be meeting with each and every one of them because they have to pick out their finishes and that. And so we're looking at that phase 1 of the cottages, the Clear Creek cottages, probably will come online about a year from now. Okay? So it's getting closer and closer to us. We hope that all construction, our plan is, and the project schedule says all construction will be done by Thanksgiving of next year on all 3 areas. Okay. The endowment committee wanted me to let you know, and so you can mark down on your calendars, about the Mother's Day tea that is going to be happening on Thursday, May 10th, here in the Village Hall. This is the Mother's Day tea that all the proceeds from that tea goes to give a scholarship to a female employee and during our scholarship application process that will happen this summer. And so we are going to be sending out the RSVPs for that. Phyllis and the endowment committee and her committee will be working on getting that out to you. If you would like any information about that, you can see Phyllis or one of the endowment members for that. You can call her or email her. She'll be happy to get you a table set for that day. Last year we raised about $5,300, and I think their goal is $6,000 this year from this event. And that proceed does go for an employee to go and further their education in a 2-year or a 4-year institution. And so all 100% of those proceeds go for that piece of it. Wanted to also remind you about your new Medicare cards. Some of you have been already starting to receive some calls or some letters about that. Medicare will start on April 1st of this year, and it will take an entire year for the federal government to start getting, everybody will get a brand new Medicare card. What they're doing this for is to get away from your Social Security number or a Social Security number and give you a personal ID number that will be affiliated to you only. So everyone will receive this new card. Once you get that new card, or you think you got a new card, bring it to the front desk. We will let our billing manager look at it, make sure it's the valid one, and we'll enter it into our system and scan it into our system so we can have it on file in case you need it for the future. However, please be very cautious because there's already been lots of scams out there about the Medicare card. First of all, Medicare will not call you to verify any information. We've already had a resident be called by someone asking for personal information, including a checking account number. Fortunately, this individual stopped in the middle, but they had given them their Social Security number. So do not give your Social Security number or personal information to anyone over the telephone that you do not know for a fact is who you're supposed to be giving it to. I wouldn't even give it to your kids, because the grandma scam and all these other scams are very proficient to make you think that that is your son or your daughter or your grandchild in trouble. So I would just say, no, I will call you back or something like that. Just get off the phone as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, until there is exchange of money, there is no crime for what they are doing. There's a specialist in the Henderson County City Police Department that until there is actual exchange of money, and unfortunately they have thresholds because there's so many of these claims, the dollar amount has gotten to $100,000. Well, these individuals don't care about $100,000 because they can get their $100,000 by getting 30 of you to give them $1,000 or more. Okay? So it never hits that threshold to be investigated. So just be very, very cautious, and especially over this next period. So do not hesitate to come to the front desk or call one of us. We will be happy to help you. And we are trying to find somebody in this arena to maybe come in and talk to us about protecting ourselves during this process. Okay? We're also in the political season. We've already had that happen, and thanks to some of the residents that were actually at the last town hall meeting, and we wanted to bring it back up again this time. Remember, Carolina Village is a 501c3. We're a not-for-profit organization. So as an organization, we have to be very cautious about how we participate in bipartisan programs. We do not want to validate or invalidate our 501c3 status with IRS. So we stay neutral as much as possible. If there are issues of bills that will come down that will impact you, like for Medicare or changes in that, we will let you know. You can call and talk to the Congress the way you want to talk, and we'll give you suggestions about what that impact will happen to you. We're also a polling site. So the room that you're sitting in is where you would come and vote, or where you do come and vote. And so it's even a double whammy for us and a double benefit, because you can come down in your bedroom slippers and cast your vote where everybody else has to put on their shoes and go outside. So we definitely don't want to invalidate our relationships with being a polling site. So the upcoming dates, we do have a primary on May 8th. We moved the health fair from May 8th because we had that scheduled, and then the primary takes over this. I actually, by law, I do not own this room for that day. The federal government owns that room. Okay? So the general election is then in November 6th. All right? So we have a couple things going up, and we have to follow those guidelines. on that day, and we have to allow for people to come and do political propaganda and things like that, certain feet from the polling site. However, the rest of the year is not during those. We do not have to follow those, so I wanted to go over what we actually do try to do here at Carolina Village. So we do not try to get involved in the election process. Don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, I don't care. That from a Carolina Village business standpoint, we do not care which affiliation you're with. But we do care that you do not impede on your neighbors' rights for their decision to which party to be in. So we ask that no propaganda be put in any common areas at all. We have already taken down 3 sets of propaganda this week. Right? And I'm walking the hallways trying to watch for anything like that. You can host a private function, which we have already had one private function here at Carolina Village. It was a private invitation only. It means you invite your friends to that, and you can reserve a room in order to do that. But you are not allowed to do any general invitation on bulletin boards or in the pigeonholes. You can use the pigeonholes to personally invite your friends, but you cannot put just one in every hole without it being invited specifically to them. We also ask that these politicians do not come in and do what I call the shaking of the hands and kissing the babies in the dining room, right? So we have a lot of people that come in as your guests, things like that, and they know a lot of people here. I don't have a problem with them going over saying hey and thank you and all this other stuff, but they just cannot come in uninvited or into that point and go table to table and start doing their campaign speeches. We just don't allow it. And certainly right now we do not have any programs scheduled that I'm aware of with that about the participation in any type of nonpartisan type discussions. It may happen in the future, but we don't have anything set at this point. Wanted to also remind you the blood drive is coming up on April 3rd, which is next week, and that will be here in the Village Hall from 10 to 2. Sign-up sheets are on the bulletin board, and there are plenty of holes for people to sign up if you would like to go ahead and give blood on that day. And you can also see Velda Cap. She will be happy to sign you up as well and give you some information about that piece of it. The guest room reservation is going very, very well. We have had a lot of people compliment the fact that they now have confirmations and those type scenarios about the guest rooms. It also helps us keep up with who is canceled and who's not been canceled, and a combination of rooms and different things like that. So in order for this request to occur, we do have to have a valid email address. It could be yours or it could be your guest. And the reason why is because that confirmation goes out to them that tells them their room number, what that room is in there, and then of course our policies about those rooms. Because we don't allow pets and those type scenarios in the room. So we don't want them to be caught off guard about anything in regards to that. We also need a cell phone number. So if there is an issue with that, we've had a couple of situations where someone had to stay a little bit extra and we had to move some people around, but we had no contact information or cell phone to make some arrangements that way. Plus, if we're here and there's an emergency situation, we would like to get a hold of you for any particular reason. So we do need a cell phone number. So we need an email and a cell phone number. And if you have any questions about that, you can see Cassandra at the window. She'll be happy to give you that, and there's her telephone number as well, her direct dial. The AB elevator, and I put that first sentence there, jokingly but not jokingly. You think you're over the elevator issues? I'm over this elevator so much. Everything was set to go. We had the elevator inspector on his way. The elevator company came in, and there was a leaking hydraulic system. So they could not inspect it that day. We asked for them to overnight the packing system for the hydraulics, and it has yet to get here. Okay? So our challenge is right now we're scheduled for Monday again for the elevator company to come out, repair the leaking hydraulic system. This actually has had nothing to do with the actual replacement of the elevator at all. This is a previous issue that should have been taken care of during that process. But they will be here on Monday, and yes, they will be here working on Easter Monday. I've already confirmed that with them. And we have asked for them to get the inspector out here as quickly as possible, preferably on Tuesday morning, so we can be up and operational on that end of it. So we're all done with this elevator. You know, it has been over 6 months, and it's just been an aggravation for everybody. So I apologize for that, and I really appreciate your patience and everything. It's just totally unacceptable from the elevator company on that end of it. The broadcasting of this, we are actually in the process of, when we went over to Touchtown and those type things, we got that scenario situated in the new cameras in here, and so we will be announcing when we're going to be replaying that, because we connected it to that to go live, and then there were some issues in regards to that, so they will be replayed next week. Okay, and we will announce when those replayments of this to give about the dining program, the project, and all these important dates. So that will be next week. We will put it on the hub about that, and of course we always have the slides located in the library that are everything on here with all the dates. There's about 7 or 8 copies located in the library for you to pick up and check out with that information. But other than that, that's all I have, unless there's some specific questions about things. So, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, the fiber optic, you probably have noticed they have been all over our campus installing the conduit that will hold the fiber optics in there, and so they're finishing up doing that. They're in the Meadows cottages just recently, and now they're in the garden cottages. That was the extent of doing it. From the woods was the first part, then the meadows, and then the garden. So we hope that we will see the conduit take place and be finished up with that, but then they have to come and run the actual fiber, and then all the connections have to occur, and then everything else has to happen on that end of it. So we're nowhere near the end of it, but we are a lot closer than we were a long time ago. So we're still in the process for that fiber optics, but and we've already had a couple of issues. They've hit water lines, they've hit power lines, they've hit telephone lines, and unfortunately, some of those were not even, they weren't marked. They weren't marked, so it wasn't their fault at all. Some of them were marked, and it was 100% their fault, so on that end of it. But we also had a runaway truck. The fiber optic truck ran over a tree. Unfortunately, it was a Japanese, green leaf Japanese maple that was probably 28, 30 years old. Completely gone. So they will replace that 28-year Japanese maple as well. So, yes. In regards to the fiber optic. So the question is once all this is installed, what changes could you expect? Well, first of all, you will expect higher speed internet on that end of it. One of the biggest things that we want to do is we're preparing ourselves to be able to do streaming and those type of things. We will go over details about what all those capabilities will be once we get all the installment in, but this program is actually bringing in probably the largest bandwidth that anybody can think of. We actually had a summit just recently across the state about retirement communities and talking about streaming and high-speed internet, and we're way far beyond what they have ever even thought about. We have people that have not even started doing public Wi-Fi on a general level. So we've been thinking about this, Craig, about 10 years. It feels like 100 when we talk about it. But we've actually, I mean, if you think about it, we've had public Wi-Fi, maybe not in every area, but we've had public Wi-Fi for about 10 years now. And so we were definitely ahead of the game in regards to that, but we've got still a long ways to go. Yes? You can for 2 more days. So, yeah. The question is for For lunch, y'all come in at lunchtime and you take your dessert home to have at 5 o'clock. The program is you can have your 2 cookies for that, or there is actual, on that a la carte at the to-go window, there is an a la carte price for a dessert. So you can still have the option, it's just in a different avenue of that. So, not to make light of it and jokes of it, but yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Easter Monday, the dining schedule, yes, that's a great question. Lunch, and there will be breakfast and lunch until 2. And then at 2 o'clock it ends. There will be no evening meal on Monday. Okay? Yes. It's going to be in your pamphlet that you will receive probably this afternoon or tomorrow on that end of it. But yes. Monday is an observation day for us for Easter, so we observe Easter Monday. And so the front desk will not open till 10, and they will also close at 2 p.m. on Monday, and that's when the dining room closes as well. Anything else? Well, thank you for joining me this afternoon. I appreciate it very much. Lots of information.